Howdy. Welcome back to One Rental at a Time. I am taking charge of the channel for a few minutes because I have a question I would like to ask Zuber that has kind of been bothering me about why so many people that I know outside of YouTube are probably going to work until they're in their 70s. So I was thinking, we've interacted now for years, and we've got friends like the Lumberjack Landlord and Millennial Mike and Beth and all these people who've invested and put money to work. So the vernacular we use, the language, the thoughts that we have tend to be, how do I optimize money so that I don't have to think about it, so I can do all these things in life that money was the barrier to? So it just seems normal. But if we could, and this is going to be the challenge for this video, if you can remove all of the people that you know because you have invested, because you wrote One Rental at a Time, because you wrote 15 Conversations with Real Estate Millionaires, because you made your YouTube channel, because of the school community, all of these people that we're interacting with who are on this path. So it's a big ask. Take all these people out of your mind. In your life, how many people do you know who reached financial freedom and retired early?
Zero.
So do you know anybody who won a significant amount in the lottery, like more than $100,000?
No.
Okay. How many people would you say that you knew that made more than $300,000 a year? Because you worked in a kind of an industry where that was possible.
I would say my network of friends back in 2018, my last W-2 year, probably more than 70% of them made more than 300 grand. So let's put a number on that. I would say 25 of my close, weekly conversations, I would call them friends. Maybe today I'd call them, maybe they don't qualify as friends today, but they were certainly friends back then. I was around people who routinely made $500,000 a year. And that was as an individual. There are people I know that husband and wife combos made $750,000, $800,000 a year. Yeah. So I was around a lot of income for sure.
So I'm on the other end of the spectrum. I was around Marines, law enforcement, truck drivers. So 100,000 was kind of the benchmark of good job, right? If you were making 120, 130, that was a decent job. I know a lot of people making 60. And when you see statistics like the average income or median income in the United States is like 37,000, 67 household, 37 individual. I was in that realm of, I know people making 100,000, 130. So I have a good circle of friends. That was the way I looked at it. So you were in a circle of $300,000 to $600,000 income.
Yeah. I would tell you the median household income was $500,000 of my network back in 18.
So almost all of the people making 50,000 a year thinking, oh man, if I doubled my income, I'd be so rich I could retire in 5 years. There were people making $500,000. And the first question wasn't how much did the people make? The first question was, how many people do you know who retired early, reached financial freedom? And it was zero.
Yeah.
I know of two.
Really?
And one was my brother. I don't think he ever made more than $100,000 in 1 year. He ran a tree service, and he might have grossed 100 and something, right. But you take out the fuel, the equipment, the employees, everything. I mean, he personally probably never made more than 100,000 in a year, reached financial freedom, but it took him, I want to say 20 years of investing, right? He bought a place, and it was the only one. He had one triplex for like the first 10 years. He never bought any more. And then he started to do it, and he retired at 50. And I have another friend who, I think the first 15 years of investing probably never made $50,000 a year. He never, since I've known him, he's never had a W-2 job. He was a real estate agent who lived in friends' garages. He would become friends with somebody, fix up their garage and move in. And he was, they would hang out together, do barbecues together. So I don't even think he ever really paid rent. And the first year that I remember talking to him about money, this was long before I invested because he's been doing this for a while. He made $13,000 as a real estate agent, and he saved $6,000.
Wow.
Yeah. So those are that number stuck with me. I was like, okay, so it's not an income problem and it's not a spending problem. It's a combination of what do you make? What do you save? What are you doing this on? So two, and I've known hundreds and hundreds of people. I've been in positions where I've worked with hundreds of people. If we're only interacting with our circle of friends, it is almost as impossible to reach financial freedom and retire early as it is to win the lottery.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, when I go back and I think about my circle in 18, these income numbers undoubtedly are stupid. But, the reality is most of them, more than half, couldn't write a $10,000 check without it bouncing. Right. First and foremost, we live in a crazy expensive part of the world. I mean, let's just get that off. Taxes are 50 some odd % when you're at that level. Right. So, there's a big difference between gross and net. Don't feel sorry for them, but just real, the other thing that's really crazy about my circle of friends is all of them. I shouldn't say all, maybe there's one or two exceptions, but certainly 90% of them will have two things happen. One, they're going to have to work until they're 65 because they're not saving any money. They're not saving any meaningful money, right? They have the nice house. They have 3 cars. They take 2 crazy vacations every year. Their kids go to private school. They're going to Whole Foods, and there's no money left. There's no freaking money left. And the second thing that really hit me is if you've ever played the cash flow game, I want you to be a doctor or a lawyer, which are the highest income, and I will be the teacher or the police officer, which are on the lower, or the janitor, which is on the low end, and I will kick your ass every time. It's not a freaking income problem. If you're around a bunch of people that make $500,000 a year and they spend $550, they're going backwards. It doesn't matter. And then the second thing I'll say about my community, my friend group, is they were living so close to the edge. If one of the spouses was laid off for more than 90 days, bankruptcy is a real option. And oh, by the way, one of the things that's going through the valley right now is AI. For the longest time, computer scientists, engineers, coders, they felt untouchable. Well, guess what, folks? They ain't untouchable now. Think about all the finance and back office groups that are being outsourced and other things. This white collar recession could really hurt, my circle of friends. And dude, going from $500K a year to 150, they're going to have to move. You can't live here on that. It could be a real nasty problem.
Yeah, the white collar recession is huge, especially if you look at. So I've mostly worked in trades, right, and worked around people who worked in trades. Most of the people I know making 80 to 120,000 a year, if they lost their job, they can go to another trade. It's a quality of life change, but they're going to be making about the same amount of money. The people in your circle that were making the 300 to 600,000, $500,000 income, that's very hard to replace, which actually is one of my investing strategies. It's why I don't like the Class A rentals. I like that Class B, Class C, mostly Class C, because I've had tenants lose their jobs, never miss a rent payment.
Yeah, no, unemployment can cover it. Yeah,
but it is not going to cover a $5,000 or $6,000 monthly payment. But
the other thing that I love this question, I never even thought about this. I've been retired since 18. So let's call it 7 years now. It'll be 7 years in February. I started really helping people about 10 years before that. So let's just call it 20 years to be generous. I have helped. So let me think about my friend group. Mike, Mary, Patrick, Selma. There's probably 5 people I've helped over the years buy a rental. Only Mike bought 2. All the others only ever bought 1 and never did it again. Right? Because they couldn't save the money, or it just wasn't that priority. Right? In the Valley, it's like always the next RSU, the next stock option, the next commission check, the next bonus, because you got this big spending freaking problem. And that's what really helped Olivia and I. Now we never made those numbers because our journey starts in 2002, not 2018. But we just got laser focused on cutting out wants. So it took a while, but we cut our expenses 50%, which just became the seed capital to create a real portfolio. Others are just keep chasing that next check. It's wild for me to think about now.
We talk often about how the first 5 years kind of suck. What I don't think we've mentioned is in those first 5 years, no one, not one person, came to me for advice. They would see, you're living in an apartment, but you have a house. What are you doing? You're not buying the RV like we are. You didn't buy the pickup to pull the RV to go out like with us every weekend like we are. You're not taking the vacations to have things to talk about. So no one came to me. The next 5 years, that was a little different. And so I could probably name the 5 or so people who came to me that were like, okay, we want to buy rentals before I started doing YouTube. And one started and took 4 years to retire. So he invested for 4 years.
Damn.
He was more sweat equity than me though. I'm the lazy guy. He bought properties that had room for RV pads. So he would buy and do value add. 9 rentals, producing way more than he needs. 9 properties, but a lot more rentals than that.
Right.
And another one has bought 3 now. So people before YouTube that have bought and continued to go.
Nice.
In the first 5 years, there's no way they would have even asked me a question about money. They would have thought,
oh no, you're
don't
right.
interact with that person. He seems crazy.
Yeah. No, and again, you're absolutely right. There was nobody talking to Olivia and I in 2002 through probably 2010. 2010, 11, people started to know us. I was on Bigger Pockets and the like. But yeah, it's pretty wild to think about. But the whole idea of it's not an income problem, folks. If it was an income problem, everybody in the Silicon Valley would be financially free. Not everybody, most people. And again,
I mean, you use the term zero.
Yeah, zero.
Right.
And to even go, it's 20 years, or at least it's 8 years since I left or whatever. But nobody else has earned it since. Nobody in that circle X YouTube, right? Yeah, there's nobody even, dude, here's one for you. There's nobody even talking about it. Like, so I am now 52. I left at 45, right? Which means my circle of friends probably today are 48 to 61, 62, right? Really getting close to retirement. There's not a single one of them who was not out chasing the next bonus, the next commission check, because they still need to feed this big freaking money engine to pay the bills. It's crazy. And
I won't mention what it is in this video, but all of those people, I could guarantee it's very rare to make a declarative statement. I try not to do that very often, right? I would say almost all of those people are facing the biggest fear that I've had that retiring early conquered. And that's a video I'm making Thursday, but it's my biggest fear. And I'm not a person who admits to fear easy, right? I've been a Marine, a cop, a parent, all those things that come with regular fear on a daily basis. And I just don't have fear. So this fear, retiring early conquered, and all of those people are facing it right now.
I can't wait to see that this Thursday. Dion Talk, Financial Freedom. Come in early, watch the talk, and then stay for the Q&A because he goes until there's no questions. Thanks, buddy.
Ciao.